There is a massive shift happening in the world. People are craving deeper fulfillment, purpose, meaning in their everyday lives, but they also feel guilty about it. This is what I mean. There's a lot of people who have everything they need. I'm not talking about the wants. I'm not talking about the mansions and the second home and the flashy cars, etc. When you really get honest with yourself and you realize you have everything that you truly, truly need to feel okay, content, to warrant happiness. And when these feelings of, man, I'm just like not really fulfilled, something's missing, I don't have purpose, there's not the meaning in my life that I once had, people start to feel guilty about it. And what we do is we'll deny that we feel like something is off. We won't actually honor this part of us. And it shows lack of clarity in our day-to-day. We're missing our North Star, feeling overwhelmed, just like, man, I can't keep up or I can't get ahead, struggling to maintain consistent progress. Hey, I can jump in and, do things for 2 or 3 weeks, but after that, I get off track. Have a really hard time holding ourselves accountable. But at the same time, there's some people that seem to have it figured out. What's really the difference here? You ever wonder what separates high performers from the rest? It's not talent, it's not luck, or really being in the right place at the right time. It's something else completely. After obsessively studying top performers in the last 4 years, I've discovered 12 key takeaways that they do consistently that I believe sets them apart. After I hit rock bottom in 2020, I lost my job, burnt out. I was on the tail end of 4 years of depression. My confidence was completely shattered. I hadn't dated anybody in a while. I just lost my career in tech sales after going through 4 jobs in 4 years. I just had to figure out how to get back on my feet. And it sent me on this path of obsessively learning how to get back, not just to status quo, but back to really being my best self. How I had been doing things and how I had been living clearly just wasn't working. So what I started to do was I started to study the best in the world, the best athletes, entrepreneurs, speakers, coaches, actors, spiritual teachers, basically anybody who is in the top of their field. And I began to notice this interconnectedness between things like high performance, success, mental health, physical health, emotional well-being, and things like self-awareness. The best knew something that I didn't. They knew how it all worked together. It all flowed together. And everything like success, peace, purpose, love, hard work, teamwork, ambition, patience, visualization, right? And so much more. And so what I can share is like this stuff changed my life completely. I went from having no income, no job for 2.5 years to running my own 6-figure coaching business, being invited to speak to sales teams and high-performing communities, facilitating my own retreats. And to be honest, it's like, I'm just getting started. I certainly don't have it all figured out, but this has helped me get from that place to where I'm at today. I'm in the best shape I've ever been in. I train jiu-jitsu 4 or 5 days a week. I get to meet amazing people, up-leveling my network here in Austin and really around the country. And the biggest thing for me is for the first time feeling just this deep sense of purpose and peace. And so, you might be thinking like, man, I'm not a high performer. This isn't me. These things won't work for me. Like I hear this all the time that, hey, it's for somebody else. We have a really hard time really just giving a little bit of belief in ourselves and trusting that we can actually do anything we set our mind to. Truth is, anyone can adopt these practices. Anyone can do these habits and have these mindset shifts and significantly improve their life immediately. The biggest takeaway I've learned from these 12 takeaways is that they're not actually innate. They're learned and developed over time. They work hard for these things. These are the kind of things that help with increased clarity and focus, a greater sense of purpose and fulfillment, improved emotional resilience, mental health, better relationships with loved ones and coworkers and co-founders and everybody in your life, improved physical health and well-being, and really driving you to get back in the driver's seat and create your dream life and start to achieve really every single goal that you set. So let's jump into the 12 takeaways. Number 1, High performers set very clear goals and they write them down. And here's the key, they visualize them achieving these goals and succeeding every single day. This is a practice that keeps them focused and motivated day in and day out. Only 3% of people write their goals down, and an even smaller percentage writes them down every single day, looks at them, touches them, feels the actual goals, like visualizes them. There were some names that really stood out to me when I started looking into who visualizes, who does things like vision boards, who has this process and this practice that they do every single day. And some big names were Tom Brady, Michael Phelps, obviously is pretty famous for his visualization practices and techniques around his time in competing in the Olympics. Tiger Woods, Serena Williams, Roger Federer, Oprah. I loved hearing this interview with Oprah where she talked about, I think she just said something like, of course I have a vision board, and she's been making them for years and years, and she attributes that to a big part of her success. Number 2, high performers aren't afraid to spend time alone because they understand that solitude is needed. Solitude allows for deep reflection, introspection, and ultimately personal growth. It's in the moments that we really take time for ourselves, pause what's coming in from the outside world, reflect, review, analyze, iterate, really sit with ourselves and be totally honest. Right? This is really how we build self-awareness, is by taking time to have an honest look at where we're at, where we're getting in our own way, what our strengths are, of course, and we have to focus on our strengths. It's really easy to be hypercritical, but we have to look at the things we're doing well, our wins, and then of course the areas that we can improve most. So solitude and spending time alone with your thoughts allows for creativity, reflection, and growth. Number 3, they read, write, and meditate daily. The meditation piece was actually pretty crazy for me. I didn't start meditating until about 4 years ago, and that was actually a big piece why I started, because I started reading over and over and over again that people use meditation as a practice to get very familiar with their own thoughts. Part of it is they understand that they're in control of their own thoughts and their beliefs and the inner narrative. And the more that they can work to change those and influence those so they are more in alignment with the person that they want to become every single day, the faster they're going to get to where they want to go. And so meditation is a huge piece of that. And reading and writing, and along with meditation, things that continuously foster learning and mental clarity, constantly focusing on progress over stagnation. Number 4, high performers focus on controlling only what is within their power, letting go of everything they can't change or they can't influence. It's so simple. The human mind has this tendency to focus on all the things that are going wrong, all the things that are outside of our control. And when we don't like how things are, it creates this resistance. I don't like that. And it stirs something up within us. And so what high performers do really, really well is they obsess with things like mindset, thoughts, beliefs, their inner talk track. They obsess with things like, how can I show up? How can I treat this person? What is the work that I can put in today? And they let go of how people are responding. They focus more on their intention and less on the potential reaction of others. It's an incredibly empowering way to live moving forward. And guys, real quick, I dropped a link in the description below. I created a really straightforward, free morning routine guide. If you just want to kickstart your days with more energy, focus, clarity, click on that link. I'll send it over to your inbox immediately. Try it out. Okay, number 5, high performers are intensely committed to learning about themselves, understanding their strengths and weaknesses. This kind of piggybacks on a previous one when I was talking about reading, writing, and meditation. They understand that in order to change your life, you have to change yourself. You are the sole creator of everything that you're doing in your life. And if you want things to change outside of you, you need to first change internally. And when you really get that and you really understand that, it makes it so crystal clear as to where your focus needs to be. It needs to be on, what are the things I'm doing well? What are the things I need help with? And then, okay, let's go improve these areas that I need help with so I can get even better and become the person that achieves the success that I'm after. Number 6, they constantly question and challenge their own thoughts and beliefs to grow and adapt. All of these they kind of play off of each other. This one stood out to me because they're just willing to learn. They're willing to grow. They know they don't have all the answers. And what's so impressive is these people, as they continue on their paths, even as they get more and more successful, it's almost like they become more open to other ideas. They're constantly trying to be a sponge to how is this person doing it? How are they doing it? Is there a better way I can go about this? Is there a way I can refine it? Is there a way I can get the same results with less effort? So constantly being open to challenging just their thoughts and their beliefs and their way of viewing the world. Because ultimately, those things are they're only limiting. It's only one way that we can view a particular situation, and they know that. So they're constantly looking for ways to expand upon or maybe even completely ditch old beliefs, thoughts. They're not aligned with the person they're becoming, and they're not aligned with what they need to do to create the success they want. Number 7, they know that everyone is doing the best they can, but everybody has their own unique blend of ingredients that are fears, insecurities, and inadequacies. They know it's just part of being human. They know everybody comes from different backgrounds. We have different upbringings, come from different cultures, countries, economic situations. And at the same time, part of being human is dealing with fears, insecurities, and inadequacies. And there's nothing wrong with that. And so what it allows them to do is have more empathy and compassion for others that they interact with along their own journey. Number 8, they ask, what can I learn from this? Instead of thinking life is out to get me. I've heard this from Tony Robbins before. Life isn't happening to you, it's happening for you. It gets us out of this victim mindset of, oh, here we go again, and into a much more empowered state. When you start to see that the purpose of life is just to grow and become conscious. The purpose of life is not to just give us everything that we want and we're just happy all the time. No, it's here to teach us lessons. We're here for a reason, to learn and grow and evolve. And when these high performers are facing difficult challenges, they're not running away from them because they know it's here for a purpose. They know on the other side of it is a lesson, is a breakthrough. And it's a lesson or a breakthrough that is going to make them into a much better, much more evolved, much more conscious, much more aware human being. And when you really get that that's the whole purpose of why we're here, and then to use our lessons, use our learnings to help others, we begin to seek out those opportunities and not shy away from them. Number 9, this is one I talk about a lot on LinkedIn. It's one of my favorite ones. High performers recognize that feelings and emotions are just signals. They're signals from the body that are guiding them to take appropriate action. I think of our emotions as an internal compass. It's a constant real-time feedback loop that is just telling us whether what we're doing is in alignment with our highest self or if it's out of alignment. If how we're showing up in a certain situation is creating the stir of emotions and uncomfortable emotions, that is just an opportunity for us to pause, take a deep breath, and say, where am I still not free here? What idea am I still attached to? What am I clinging on to that is causing this internal friction? And so instead of self-judgment, self-shame, feeling guilty that maybe we feel sad or jealous or angry or you name it, it's instead an opportunity to view them more objectively. And when we view feelings and emotions more objectively, it allows us to create a little bit of space between us and them so we can work with them. Remember, we're not our thoughts, we're not our feelings, we're not our emotions. We are the being that is aware of them. So we are just experiencing these emotions. They don't define us. They're not us. And the more we can sit in that space, we can recognize them as just signals. They're just trying to get our attention. Number 10, high performers know that the best relationships, they take work. They need to be nurtured with time, with effort, with intentionality. They don't just happen on their own. As I was shifting into a totally different way of living, not that I wanted to leave old friends behind, but I know I just needed to start surrounding myself with the type of people who were going where I was going, who wanted to create the kind of life that I wanted to create for myself, which meant maybe similar hobbies, growth mindset for sure. Maybe we were leaving behind old behaviors like drinking alcohol or doing drugs. And what I realized was, yeah, when you meet the right people, it clicks and it's a little bit easier. But at the same time, relationships don't just happen. They don't just happen by themselves, but they don't turn into these, wonderful, flourishing entities by themselves. They take time and effort. Number 11, they know that their health is their biggest asset and they make it a priority. Absolutely. If we are, I use this analogy, I don't know if this is how great this is, but this is how I think about it. If we're on the F1 circuit and we want to do as best we can in the race, there's obviously a lot of factors that go into it, but I think of our bodies as the race car. Those teams are so attuned to every single piece of that car. There's so many people that are working on it within the crew, that are looking at analytics, that are checking the computer, that are obviously doing the actual work on it, the body work, the mechanics, etc. And they know that in order for that car to match the driver's ability to drive hard, to drive fast, go around turns, to pass, etc. I'm not an expert on F1. This is just, I don't know why this came to me. This is why it's here. They have to make sure that that car is dialed in. And the same thing goes for us in our health. We cannot expect to perform at a high level, to reach our potential, to really experience a level of success that we're capable of if we don't take care of our health. And that goes for physical health, of course, making sure we're exercising, strength training, doing cardio, eating clean, single ingredient foods, getting enough sleep, hydrating, doing stress relieving activities, things like meditation, breath work, sitting in solitude, because our health is the number one driver. The minute our health goes out the door, the minute we're in bed, nothing else matters. We don't give a shit about how much money we have, what our business is doing. All we want to do is feel better. And so to consistently show up and perform your best day after day after day, you've got to understand that your health is your biggest asset. And to me, it's specifically your mental well-being, your state of mind, your thoughts, your beliefs, etc. And then we work on our physical health to support that so we can consistently show up our best. Number 12, they know that the most important relationship they're ever going to have is with themselves. And a lot of the things on the list support that. But it's recognizing that how they speak to themselves matters most. Them honoring their own instincts, their gut, everything that is going on internally, the beliefs they have, again, their relationship with their inner critic, if they're a coach to themselves, if they're giving themselves affirmations, like just so intimately attuned to the person they want to become. That starts with how they treat themselves. When going back to what I was saying earlier, recognizing that we are not the voice in our head. We are not the thoughts in our head. We're just the one who hears it. And when you really get that, it totally shifts your relationship with yourself and at least how you view it. I'll leave you with this. One of the big takeaways is understanding that high performance is not at all about an outcome. It's not about perfection. It's not even really about winning. It's about showing up consistently day after day after day with consistent effort, with a willingness to learn, a willingness to grow and evolve. It's starting small. It's lifting people up around you. And it is listening to that voice within that is constantly trying to get your attention, to follow your passions, to do the things you love, and really bring your gifts to the world. So if you like this video, like, comment, share with somebody who could use it for sure, and make sure you get the perfect morning routine. Let me know what you think.